when you want to paint a model, keeping off of areas like this glass on this HiMech are all important. So how can we do it? Hi, welcome back to St Blazey Model World. Now in the last few videos I've concentrated on model buses because that's mainly what I'm doing most of just at the moment. But on this video I thought it'd be good to get back to some trains. Now in the last video we looked at applying straight lines to our models and products that we could use to get away from the traditional masking tape, and if you did miss that, there's a link to it on the screen right now. And for this video I thought we'd concentrate on how to keep paint away from areas in a slightly different way. And so for that purpose we're going to look at this old HiMech body. This is actually one of my original ones. It's getting on, well, 50 years old at least. So we'll see how we go. Now this old loco body is about to get a bit of a rework, a refurb. And to that end, of course, I will not want to get paint on the glazing on the cab areas. And so it's time to think about how to avoid that. One way we can do it is to use something called drawing gum. And there's one example of it on the screen now. There are lots of people out there making it, and we'll show you how it works. Now before we start, just a quick word about cost. Just under £6 this tub from eBay, plus a little bit of postage. And it's a bit like the masking tape. You might think, well, that's a lot of money, but do you really want to waste time and money and paint, removing paint from areas where you didn't want it to go in the first place? So I think it's good value. 45 millilitres in this tub, and you'll notice straight away the warning sign there, the exclamation mark. So let's have a quick look on this particular one. Get the camera back into focus. There we are, so you can read it for yourself. May cause respiratory irritation, keep out of the reach of children, store locked up. That goes through a lot of our modelling products, doesn't it? You know, you don't want children playing with this stuff. And if you are a young modeller and you're not sure, please do seek the assistance of a grown-up when using some of these products. And if necessary, make sure you use health and safety equipment as well. So onto the product itself. Well, you can see in there that it's a blue liquid, this particular one. I've seen them in different colours, and the colour of the product doesn't really make a lot of difference. You can also see a lot of air bubbles in there. They will remain. But just as we do with paint, we'll get our metal spatula and we'll give it a quick stir. Make sure it's ready to go. When you don't mix paints and products such as this, you really are wasting them, because you'll find that if you have paint and you don't mix it and any other products, you end up applying more than is necessary, and that's something that we always want to avoid in modelling. So what have we got? Well, cotton buds. I go for the middle class option. I think that's what our good friends at Chadwick Model Railway once referred to it as, and perfectly right they are as well. The last thing you want is a cotton bud that's going to disintegrate everywhere. And my contaminant of choice has always been nail varnish remover. And if you saw my video on tampo printing, you'll have seen it used there. If you didn't watch that video, why not? Go back and watch it, please, and rejoin us shortly. So let's apply some of this decontaminant, and we'll clean up these cab windows and then we'll be ready to go. So there we are, that's our decontaminant applied. We've cleaned the window surface. I've also just cleaned the inside of these windows while I was at it. And you may think that's probably a waste of time, but I'm just going to bring in the cotton bud that I've just used. And again, we'll just hang on while the camera gets back into focus, and you can see there is a reasonable amount of dirt on that cotton bud, bearing in mind that this loco, as I said at the very start, is 50 odd years old. So there's a fair chance that there'll be contaminants on there, so it's important to carry out this step. Okay, so we've let a minute or two pass just to make sure that the decontaminant, the nail varnish remover, evaporates fully, and now we're ready to apply some of this drawing gum to the cab windows. And it's very simple, and when you get this stuff on the brush, it looks like that, and you think, well, there's not a lot there. There's actually nothing there, but there is. These phones don't focus very well, do they? Anyway, let's get some of this onto the loco and see what it looks like. So there it is, it's applied, and I'll do a before and after kind of comparison, although this is treated and not treated. And the fluid has gone on. It's extremely thin, this stuff, when you apply it, but that will work its way into the corners of the glazing very well. And now we need to wait for it to dry. While it does dry, it's a good time to mention that this stuff destroys brushes. This will dry into a rubber solution, and whilst we're waiting for our drying process, this brush is going to get cleaned thoroughly in cold water. This is an acrylic solution. Don't use hot water, you'll speed up the curing process. Cold water, and I always use a bit of washing up liquid. So we get that done now, and while that's taking place, our rubber solution will be ready. And there we are, the product is dry. Now you might be able to see just a tiny amount of blue fluid just at the bottom of the right hand window there, the right hand cab window, and that's fine. I know that I've worked the fluid into all four corners and around the frame of this cab window. If you have any doubts, by all means apply a second coat. Once we've done our painting, we'll remove this fluid and it comes away as a rubber. It's like a rubber solution really, and that's one of the reasons why it's so good at destroying brushes if you don't clean your equipment properly. So that's it, we're good to go. We can paint by hand, or we can use an airbrush, and we could even use a rattle can once we've masked off the rest of the roof or any other area where we didn't want paint to be applied. Now you might well say, well, that's a lot of work and expense to go to. Why don't we just take the glass out of the cab before we start? And that's a very, very good and valid question. But let's have a look at what the risks might be. So inside of this cab, it really is a risky business. The glazing is one piece and it appears to be held on at one central point, and I know full well from years and years of model making that if you try to take that out, the chances of you breaking that are extremely high, and that's why we use something like the drawing gum rather than trying to remove the glazing itself. So there we are, another painting hint and tip. I hope you found this useful. Lots more coming soon. We're going to get back to some model trains properly. It's been a long time on buses, and I'm sure that not everybody likes to look at that sort of thing. So we're going to use some trains for some more of our videos coming shortly. Take care, stay safe. Bye for now from St Blazey Model World.